Well, I just finished my MRI for my liver. First time I've ever had an MRI for my liver, or any check of my liver. He said it looked good. I told him that my doctor's also gonna want to get a kidney one, and he said that it does. They did capture my kidneys, so she may not need a specific one just for my kidneys. But I guess we'll see. I'm very, very grateful that Dr. Reddy is being proactive, because she's the one that dilated my esophagus, gastroc, not gastroc, that's my muscle. your junction between your esophagus and your stomach. She dilated that for me, and then she's just looked into different things for me, which I'm very grateful, very grateful. So I'm just waiting for my ride. I think I have about 10 minutes. That was the longest scan I've ever done. He said it's because there's like a 10-minute delay, but you breathe and they expect you to hold your breath like forever. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can hold it much longer. And I just keep trying, because I know that your lungs go down, and that's what moves your innards, which would make the image blurry. So I try really hard. So I was able to do it though. So Lexi and Luna are still at my house. Lexi whines so much. It reminds me of Jaden, which reminds me of why Jaden irritated me. Because since Jaden's been gone, and I see Kovu taking off after Jaden, he's not mean, but he sounds mean. Yes, he does. It reminds me of Jaden, which makes me miss Jaden. But then when I have Lexi around and she whines all the time, I'm like, that's why I didn't appreciate when he was around. But he was a good dog. He was. So last week, on the way back home, Haley made a comment that he had thought that he found the one, because he always talks about how he wants a young girl because they're not stubborn and all this stuff. But he also realizes that young girls, like 19, young, he's 33, they also want to go party. They want to go out and drink. They want to go to parties. They want to, yeah, at that age, of course, because that's what you wanted to do, right? You want to go to the club. You want to, yeah. But he don't want to do that no more. He's in the stage that he wants to buy a house and settle down. I'm like, yeah, because you're in your 30s. So you have to remember that. But he also doesn't want anybody with children, because he was with a woman that five kids. She was like 35 or something, and he was 25. That was totally unfair to him. He said it was basically he was having to raise 5 children that weren't his. And then his wife, he ended up getting married, because she kept being like, drilling in, why don't we get married? Get married, get married. He lasted 5 years, which I'm proud of him. He said it's a lot. It teaches you a lot of patience. But his wife, she had a tube side, and so he was married to somebody that could not give him children, and he was 25, which is like the prime year of having children, and he was raising 5 kids that weren't his. They were menaces, apparently. Anyways, so he said that he thought he found the one, because I don't have any children, and I'm in my 30s, and I'm in the same mindset as him, because he said he also doesn't have friends to go out with, because they would always go partying. They go to the club, get drunk, spend a lot of money on alcohol and all this stuff. So I just kept asking questions. I was like, so why don't you just go and not drink? Like, why do you have to cut off? He said, I'm just done with that lifestyle. I'm like, I understand, but you don't have to incorporate drinking into it if that's what you don't want to do. And I guess it goes hand in hand, because he's used to just going and getting drinks, and girls asking him to buy drinks, and they buy rounds, and this person buy rounds. Apparently he spent like $400, $500 at the fucking club on alcohol, and not even realize it until the next morning. And he feels like shit because he has a hangover. He said he's not about that life no more. Okay. He said he wants to just, go to the hot springs, or go out to eat, or, yeah, stuff you do when you're older. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. But he doesn't have anybody to do it with, which I understand, because I usually don't either. But I don't want to be around people, and I can't stand to be around him longer than being around him every day. No. Like, he dropped me off, and he wanted to watch a movie, and he wanted me to go back to his house, because he wants to go back, because I don't have a couch. So he's like to lay on the couch, and he likes to drink his wine, and I couldn't ride in the car no more. All we did was ride in the car on Friday, he went to go pick some stuff up, and apparently it looked like shit, so he didn't buy it. And then we did other errands, and so I sat in the car all fucking day. I was in so much pain. I said, there's no way I can ride in a car any much longer. And I told him, because he asked me what I was doing when I get home. I said, oh, I don't know. So then when he asked if he wanted to hang out, I said, no, I'm going to take a nap. Which I really kind of was going to, but I really was just going to use my vibrator. Because my vibration helps, even though it sounds like I'm trying to arouse myself, which does happen sometimes. Last night it just wasn't happening. I was just wanting my hips to relax. That's it. There's different parts of my body now that are cramping besides my pubic bone. My pubic bone has relaxed. Not right at the very bottom, yes, it still cramps, but a lot of it is in my hip joints toward the posterior aspect of my glutes. So I walk like I have a stick up my ass. So stiff. Anyways, and then yesterday he called me. It was like 8 o'clock. Just making conversation, I guess. I don't know. Because I told him that I was watching Lexi and Luna, but I think he thought I was doing daycare. Because I said, yeah, they're still here. And they're like, oh, they're staying the night? I'm like, yeah, they're doing boarding. Made $100. And I don't think I'm going to charge them for today. Because usually I say pick them up by 11. But it's already 10. And he said that his friend that she came last night probably won't leave until like 1. But he doesn't want to have to pay $70 for only a couple more hours after 11. And, you know, he's pretty short on money anyway. And I said, I understand. I understand that struggle. I said, it's probably going to be your birthday type thing. That reminds me of when my chiropractor, she has this thing that she sends out, and she calls it your birthday. So it's like a free adjustment. So that's what I meant. Like, I won't charge her probably for today, just overnight. So I did make $100 though. This morning, it sounded like Alexi was throwing up, but I didn't get up because I was like, there's no point. Because when Kovo used to do that, I mean, I couldn't stop him from throwing up, right? And I'd have to clean it up anyways. So, but when I got up, there was nothing on the floor. So apparently she was just gagging. I don't know. But everybody wanted to wake up around like 6:30. I was like, lay down. We ain't getting up yet. But they did. They laid down. Thank God. But Luna kept trying to lay on me, and it hurt so bad. I didn't mind, but I couldn't do the pain, so I'd always have to move her. And I was very irritated last night because everybody kept trying to lay on me and lay in the bed, so I finally got Lexi to lay in the bed that her owner brought. And then, because she's more of a broad dog, Luna, I manhandled, and I said, go over here, go on the side of the bed. So she stayed over there. So then I was able to move my legs and stuff the way I needed to, because I can't be cramped up in the bed. I can't even have Kovo lay next to me. Anyways, this morning I wasn't as bad, but I think it's because when I smoked weed, it made it worse. But I do that so it makes me move, but then when I don't move, it's kind of like you shouldn't have done it because you're just in a lot more pain. But I need to start going for walks. If my feet can handle it. I do walk, but I don't go for walks. And it's been raining. It's rainy season, which I don't mind. I see the rain as God's kisses. But so he called me yesterday. He called me last night, and he said that he was watching a documentary about schizophrenia, and he asked me if I ever met anybody who has schizophrenia. I said I thought I did. I thought the guy that apparently was on meth, I thought he was schizophrenic because I never seen any drugs laying around, and I've never been around anybody who did drugs, but I've been in the healthcare field. So I just diagnosed him as being schizophrenic and had erectile dysfunction. But apparently it was because of drugs, I guess. I don't know. Anywho, so he said he really didn't know the difference between schizophrenia and bipolar because he thought they were one and the same. I said, no. I said, I'm bipolar type 2. He said, what's that? I said, bipolar type 2 is when you have depression and hypomanic, which is like the worst depression you can experience, the combination of the two. And then there's a manic, which is constant on the go, talk, which was my stepmom. I don't know if she's that way as much anymore, but So he asked me why, I said you have to go to a psychiatrist to be diagnosed for that. Schizophrenia, bipolar, all this stuff. So he said, you went to a psychiatrist? I said, yeah, when I was 23. He said, why'd you go? I said, because it was a consequence. I wrecked the car. I totaled my dad's truck. And the consequence was either I pay him for the truck that's totaled, or I go get help. He's like, I don't understand. I've been in car wrecks before. Why would you? I said, it didn't have nothing to do with the car wreck itself. It had nothing to do with it. It was just a consequence that my dad was promoting me to go. He said, well, what was the leading cause? I said, I wanted to commit suicide, basically. He said, why? And you can tell if somebody's never really been there and they're just being nosy or they're just being curious. You know, there's nothing against it, but they're very not compassionate. They're not, you don't just ask people that. You just, you know, in the tone, and it just depends. And in that time, I was watching a movie. I was enjoying the dogs, because it's kind of like when you, it reminds me of when I was watching a Tyler Perry movie, and this guy, he only sees his kids very few often, and he didn't want to argue with his girl because he only has his children for a little bit, and he was going to enjoy their company while it lasted. And that's exactly how I felt when the dogs were at my house, Luna and Lexi. I'm like, I only get them for one day, and I ain't talking to you about this. He said, so what was the issue? And he kept going on, and he kept asking, and I was like, you know, I just cut it short. I was like, you know, I got this and this and this too. I'm not going to talk about it. He said, so you're not going to tell me? I said, no. I said, well, I'll talk to you later. Okay. And I got off the phone. Well, the other day we were talking about court, and he kept emphasizing about how don't have an attitude with the judge, don't have an attitude. I said, I ain't stupid. I said, the only person I have attitude with is you. He said, the only person you have attitude with is me. I said, yeah. He said, why? I said, because you irk me. You act like what I'm going through is no big deal. The guy's down there just listening to me. And just the fact that his just mindset, I don't know, he just bothers me. He does. I work with you, I tolerate you, get my paycheck. I'm not gonna do it for a long term though. I think that's what he's expecting. He said, well, when we grow, then you can probably manage people underneath you and blah, blah, blah. I'll probably keep doing it, but that's not my dream. My dream is boarding animals and being a digital creator. That's what I'm gonna do in the end. I'm not going to do a 9-to-5 job. I'm not going to do something that requires an exchange of my time for money. I'm not going to do it. Even though he doesn't bill me hourly. So, but yeah. But right now it's a means to an end. He wants to put a hot tub, because Debo, in my backyard. No, because that means that he would feel obligated to be able to use it, right? Especially if he paid for it. And I don't want that boy at my house over the weekend or at night and all this stuff. No. Especially because you always step and poop. You don't watch where you step. Every time he goes back there, even when he walked on the walkway, he stepped and poop. And he gets irritated. I try to pick it up, but I don't even step and poop. Like, very rarely. I'm like, I don't know what the odds for you to do that. Every time. Anyway. So I got my liver scanned. It was a black man. His name was Richard. Apparently he comes up here like once a week from Mexico. I'm like, why would you come here? And he said he's moving here to Newburgh. And I said, I don't know if you want to do that, because people here are racist. So a lot of black people prefer to live in Beaverton, where it's more diverse. He said, yeah, somebody asked me, what are you doing here? When he was here one time, I guess. And then he was like, I work here. He's 63. He seems like a nice guy. He's bald. Has a gray beard. Seems like a nice guy. I told him that I went through starvation and stuff, and he said, starvation? He said, looks like you got it back. I said, yeah, I did. A little too much, actually. My core, I need to work on it. But for the most part, yes, my booty somewhat has come back. It's not fully what it can be. That's the thing. When I watch myself in videos now, I'm like, damn, I do have a fat ass. It's very plump, and I haven't even done anything with it. That's the crazy thing. So when I start exercising, you can definitely tell a difference. You will. You'll get even rounder. It's gonna be nice. God bless me with a body that I actually know how to set boundaries for now. I told my mom, because I sent her, I don't know if I told you this, I sent her, where's my people? She's supposed to be here at 10. She must be running late. I sent my mom my summary of my doctor's appointment. And on there you can tell my weight. I think my weight is 165 now. I went from 112. Usually 160 is my last time. I haven't been 165 before. But she said, well, she said, watch your weight. You don't want to end up like me. She said, I'm 207. I said, I don't hate my body like other people do. I used to be like, oh, it looks gross, or I used to be fit, or, But no, I'm grateful that I have it. I'm grateful that it came back. I'm grateful, it somewhat came back. I'm still in pain and limited in function, but my figure has basically come back. And I'm very grateful. And I told her, thank you. Because she gave me my figure. My mom, she chuckled. I said a thing, I don't know. She chuckled. She said, yes, you got my booty and my thickness. I said, I know. I appreciate you, Mom. Yeah. Shake what your mama gave you. And I can. God has blessed me with rhythm. I know how to dance. And since I've been in so much pain, I'm very in tune with every part of my body. And I can do osculation, which looks like shaking your booty, what guys would like to see. That's why I don't do it in public, even though my PT said do it, because I said osculation is what makes it feel better. But I can't do that around people because it just don't look appropriate. People get in the gutter. The mind's in the gutter. She said do it anyway. Okay. I haven't. I move a little bit more in church, but I don't. Anyway, well, Richard, one thing I really liked about him was he's singing God music, like gospel, talking about Jesus and God, and I asked him if he ever gets to go to church, and he said no, but he'll watch it on TV. But that part I really liked about him. He's older, yes. I wouldn't date him probably, but I could see him as a good friend. I could. I just recommend not living here, because I don't think you're gonna like it. Just people are something else. White people are very passive aggressive. Haley calls them what's he call them? Hypocrites. Like, he's not really a hypocrite. He's like, well, they treat people differently than what they want to be treated. I'm like, yeah, I get it. But they're very passive aggressive. They'll be friendly to your face and da da da. But behind your back, they don't like you. They'll talk shit about you, but not to your face. They're very cowardish. They are. But anyway, so I gave him my business card. He gave me his, and I gave him mine. He said, so I take it you want me to call you? I said, yeah, we can be friends. He said, good, because I don't know anybody here. I'm like, yeah, I got you. He asked me how many bedrooms I have. I said 2. I don't know why. I ain't written nobody. No. Nobody's lived with me no more. No. I said, I have a dog. He said, is it friendly? I said, yeah, he's a Boston Terrier. He's friendly. But I have 2 pits at my house. But the thing is, Kobo is the ringleader of the 2 pits. It's funny. I hope they're behaving, though. I made sure that they went poop. Luna did not want to go. She come back in. She acted like I'm getting after her. I'm like, go potty. So she finally pooped, thank God. Because every time they come to my house, they initially poop. He said, yeah, I let them out, but I don't, continuously watch them. And no, they pee a little bit and they come inside. So you have to make sure you tell them to keep going until they poop. So hopefully they didn't make any accidents at my house. Lexi pooped on the bed, on Kobu's bed. Well, it was one of the beds. And the thing don't even come off. The cover of the pillow, it'll come off. Like, why would you make a dog bed with a cover that does not have any zipper? That's stupid. But I was able to pick it up, and the spray that the wool light spray that Gordon gave me came right out. So that's good. But yeah, she pooped on it. What the hell? And then I kept finding pee all over my house. I'm like, I can't tell if it's a 10-month-old or if it was her, because every time I got after Luna, then Lexi acted like she was in trouble. So I was like, I guess both of you were in trouble. I just get after them. You know, I don't hit them. I don't use my hands. I don't use any objects. I don't come after them. I just, in their face, don't do that. That's exactly what my dad did to me. My dad doesn't raise a hand, nothing, but he'll get in your face and let you know you fucking up. Haley said that he wants a daughter like his sister, because his sister just got married, dated one guy and got married to him, and then so she wasn't with other guys. Like, a lot of guys don't want girls because they know what they do to girls. Like, yeah, it's a way of life. Get over it. That's why they don't want their little girl dating all this stuff. I'm like, you can't do that. Alienate them because you got issues. The fuck? But the boy can do whatever they want. Oh, hell no. Tell you all these little fucking babies running around not being taken care of. That's why you have women. There's my ride. That's why you have women with children that don't have anybody to support them. And that's why Haley said I was rare, because I don't have any children. Not really by choice. Yes and no. Depending on who I was with, probably. But I really do want one. I don't know. Maybe God will bless me with one. But anyways, yeah. Talk to you later.